Hey guys, it's Vince from Airpreneur, and in this video, I'm gonna break down how to predict exactly how much revenue your short-term rental property, whether you're purchasing, arbitraging, co-hosting, whatever it is, how much your Airbnb is going to make. And this is extremely important because without knowing how much revenue per year your property is gonna make, you can't calculate monthly profit. You can't calculate whether or not it's even a good deal or worth pursuing. Because we as business owners, real estate investors, entrepreneurs, we need to know numbers before going into deals. We're analytical people, right? And if you're not, we're gonna make you become one, right? So this is extremely important. Here's the good news, is this gets so overly complicated. There's 5 million videos on the internet about this, and all of them are so different. This guy's bashing AirDNA. This guy is saying that you have to use his own software that he created. This guy, it's a mess. And honestly, guys, I'm just gonna break this down so simply. It doesn't matter what software you use, whether it's AirDNA, Airbitics, or whatever the heck else is out there. I don't think you need to buy some guru's self-made software that he's trying to sell you so you can buy his program and all that stuff. But I do think you can use a software like AirDNA. That's what I use. Just please be wary. There's a lot of bad data on AirDNA. So I'm going to assume in this video that you know how to weed out the bad data. It's not too difficult. Maybe I'll make a separate video on that. But here's the thing, guys, is no matter what software you're using, the concepts I'm going to teach you in this video are exactly the same. It's really all about one major principle here, and it is comp analysis. All right, what the heck does that mean? So comp is short for comparable. And what is comparable? Comparable are properties that are most alike the property that you're targeting based on things you cannot control, okay? I'm gonna say that again, cannot control. So for example, if you're targeting a property and it's really, really nice and you're looking at a comparable property and it has a pool table, well, that's something you can control, guys. You could just buy a pool table, but you can't really just buy a pool. So if that other property has a pool, that's something outside of your control, right? So let me just break down the mindset behind the comp analysis process before I show you an example so you understand exactly how to go about this, because again, guys, it gets so overcomplicated and I'm gonna simplify it so easily for you. So if this is a property we are targeting, okay, what we're going to do is in the market and the area that we're targeting, we're going to find several properties that are most alike the property that I'm targeting, right? Based on things, again, I can't control. So I'm basically going to gather several properties in the area I'm targeting that are most alike mine, and all I'm gonna do is go by each unit and determine, is this property a property that I can compete with or beat? Because if I can, then I can assume I'm gonna make the same amount of money as that property, right? Or is this a property that I cannot compete with because they're way better than me? And if that's the case, then I can't compete with them and I can't assume I'm gonna make as much revenue as them. But guys, that's it. Now, obviously, it's a little bit more in depth than that and I'm gonna break it down for you, but at the end of the day, it's a very, very simple concept. So let me actually give you an example of an analysis so you understand exactly what I'm talking about, and you can apply this to any rental analysis software, any data software. So let's just assume you have AirDNA and you know how to weed out bad data and you're targeting, let's just say Dallas, right? We're targeting Dallas and we're targeting a section of Dallas, right? So this is our target property. I'm just gonna put a little target symbol here. So this is our target property. So the first thing I'm gonna wanna do is analyze this property to understand everything about it that I can't control. Okay, before I look at any other comps, I want to understand my property. Now, first, let's go through the obvious, right? 3-bed, 2-bath. I can't control that. Now, what else do I want to understand that I can't control? So, does it have things like parking? Like, let's say it has a driveway, right? So I'm going to say parking. I'm going to say backyard, right? Because these are things I cannot control, okay? And what about things like, you also want to see the space and square footage. I can't control that. So I'm just going to assume this is a large 3-bed, 2-bath. And then finally, what about things like the style of renovation, right? I'm just going to assume that this one is modern aesthetic, right? Now, here's the thing, guys, is I can't look at all this and immediately assume that this is good or bad, because it's not, we have no reference. If all of the other top properties are modern aesthetic, then it's good. But even if yours looks brand new and the renovation style is beautiful, but all of the top properties have an old Victorian style, then this means jack, right? So now, for the sake of this comparable analysis, we're gonna assume that modern is something that's comparable, right? Now, so the next step here, guys, is to find 3 to 5, at least, comparable properties to mine based on things I can't control, right? So let's say I went on AirDNA and I narrowed down by the way, you want to narrow down by the highest revenue to lowest revenue because you want to find the best performing properties that are comparable to yours, right? So let's say I found 3 properties that are comps. They're in the same part of Dallas. They're all 3-bed, 2-bath, and they're similar sized, and they all have mainly things that I can't control that are similar, okay? And let's just assume that the revenues on them are, I'm gonna sort it by highest to lowest. Let's just assume the revenues on them are 80,000. This one is producing 65, and this one is producing 50, okay? So now we need to understand why these are producing these revenue ranges, okay? And then all we're going to do is understand where does our unit fit in to this analysis. So now you understand, just based off what I just said, that having more points of reference will give you greater accuracy on this process. So let's look at property number 1, okay? So property number 1, 3-bed, 2-bath, that's all similar. It has a similar modern renovation style, but it also has a pool, okay? So, and the listing is also really good. So there's great photos, great interior design, and the title's really good and all of that stuff. Now here's the thing though, guys, is if the listing's good, if the photos are good, the title's good, the description's good, the interior design's good, those are things you can control. So that doesn't necessarily make this property any better. But the fact that it has a pool means that that's something that you can't really control, right? Now, is a pool good? Is the pool the reason why it's making 80K? Well, I don't know yet, right? So then the next step would be, I'm gonna go to this section of Dallas and I'm gonna start to see if other top performing properties, especially in that 80K range, also have pools. Now, in this example, let's just assume that pools are a valuable amenity in this space, right? So this one has a pool, hence, and it's a good listing, which means we're gonna assume that's why it's making this 80K, okay? Simple. Now, this second listing, also a 3-bed, 2-bath, right? Let's assume this is almost identical to your property. Same part of town, it has the same exact modern renovation style, it has a backyard, it has parking, but it does not have a pool, okay? Which means it's very similar to yours on almost all respects. And then finally, let's also assume that this property has a good listing. So good photos, good interior design, great title, great description. Those are things you can control, right? So now this 65K revenue range means we are getting closer to where we're going to be. So before we make a deduction on that, we're now gonna go to the next comparable, right? So this is another property, same part of Dallas, 3-bed, 2-bath, same modern renovation style or similar, right? And has most of these amenities I can control. But here's the kicker, is it has a modern design, it has a backyard, it has a parking, it has no pool, and it has a crap listing. The interior design sucks. The photos suck. The description, the title sucks. So the listing is crap. Therefore, we can assume that's why they're making 50K, okay? So now we have a full gamut of revenue ranges of properties that are most like ours, 3-bed, 2-bath, modern aesthetic in this part of Dallas, okay? And now all we need to do is go through this list of comps and figure out where does our unit fall into this list, right? So here is the magic and easy part of this whole thing. So this first property has a pool, okay? Therefore, right out of the gate, even though we can compete with every other aspect of this house, we have the same renovation style, same size, same backyard, parking, modern aesthetic, the listing is good and we can compete with that. Even though we can compete with everything about this property, at the end of the day, it has a pool, we do not. Therefore, this property we cannot beat, okay? So even though our property is very, very similar, I don't wanna ever assume my property is gonna make 80K. Could it? Sure, this is a top comp. This is what I like to call a top comp because it's so similar to my property, but it still has something I can't control that I can't beat. And because of that, I can't conservatively estimate I'm gonna make this 80K, right? Now, could my property still make 80K? Yes, because it's a top comp, but I'm not gonna base my analysis on that, okay? So now let's go down to this second property. No pool, same as mine, has all the same amenities, features, aspects of my property, does not have a pool, and it does have a good listing, but those are things I can compete with. I can compete with interior design, I can compete with good photos, good titles, all of that stuff. So because of that, I'm gonna put this as a competible property. It is a property I can go toe to toe with. Do I want to assume that I'm 100% of the time gonna make the same amount of revenue? Not necessarily, but we're getting very close. So let's keep on moving. If I go down to this bottom property, this property is a comparable property to mine on all aspects, right? Same parking, backyard, modern aesthetic, 3-bed, 2-bath, same part of Dallas, but the listing is crap, right? Bad photos, bad listing, bad everything, bad interior design. I can control that and I can beat this property. So this is what's known as a beatable property. So we've got a top comp, which we can't beat, but it is still a comp. We have a competible property and we have a beatable property. Now for the easy part, where does our property fall in this example? So all we're gonna do is make a deduction based on everything we just went over as to where our property falls into this list. It's not gonna make 80K conservatively because this has a pool and we do not. It's not gonna make 50K though because I have every aspect of this property, but mine will be better because my listing will be better. And part of that is just understanding, how to create a listing and knowing that you'll be good at the interior design and all that stuff. So obviously that comes with a little bit of experience, but the thing is I know my listing is gonna be better, so I also conservatively think I will do more than 50K. So this property right here, this 65K range, is really where my property is going to fall. Now guys, this is a brief, short example, so there's usually more comps associated with this and there's usually more complicated factors. For example, in a real life scenario, this property, even though it checks off all the boxes and it is directly toe-to-toe comparable, their backyard might be another 30 square feet larger than mine. And because of that, I'm gonna have to estimate I'll make a little bit less, right? You do wanna familiarize yourself with all the nuances. But at the end of the day, data for data, I'm going to assume conservatively, right, that my property with 100% certainty is going to do anywhere from 55, I don't even know if this is on the screen, yeah, 55K to about 65K, right? So if I was running numbers and monthly profitability, I would probably run it off of 60K because I want to be conservative and I want to be a 100% certain of that number. So guys, that breaks down the whole comp analysis process. You could repeat this on whatever software you're using. You don't have to buy some guru's in-house software that they threw together on Fiverr so that way you buy their $7,000 mentorship. By the way, at airpreneur.com we do offer a mentorship, but it is specifically designed to help you get as fast as possible to a six-figure business or at least your first few properties. So if you're interested in just learning about that totally for free, go ahead and head to airpreneur.com and book some time to chat with me and my team. However, just so you know, I'm not trying to just sell you something in this video. I actually put together with my business partner an entire A to Z course on how to build your own Airbnb arbitrage business, and it is completely free. It's on the newschool.com platform, so just head to school.com/Airbnb. I'll drop a link in the description, and you can literally learn everything you need to know on how to create a business from scratch for free on that course. So guys, I hope this was helpful. Please let us know if you have any questions, and happy hunting.